feel like in 2025, Beauty Bay just shifted their whole focus onto something else because we had so many releases in the cheek area. They brought out a new sub brand. So let me grab this one. In case you didn't know, on the Beauty Bay website, there is this new brand called Sampler. It's Beauty Bay. This is like their new brand, and they have a quite interesting system of actually single eyeshadows that you can buy pre-made in this palette. This is the palette 02 Mood. I haven't tested this yet, so I don't know, but they just completely shifted with everything again with the new sub-brand, and like palette-wise, eyeshadow palette-wise, it was definitely more of a we are bringing back fan favorites year. So like with the new revamped Botanical that came out this year, then this collector's edition palette that don't ask me, like please don't judge me, I should say. I bought it. The huge ass with the weird drawer, I bought it because there are 2 out of 3 eyeshadow palettes in there that I don't have and that I really like the style of. But okay, that's not the topic of the video. But they also came out with, was there a spring special release? Let me check. I think Botanical was the spring special. I think there wasn't a specific one. Yeah, and their new limited edition palette is the Dark Lights palette that now recently just came out, and this is a smoky party palette, and this is exactly like, this is a clubbing palette, I would say, because of all the names like Underground, Strobe, Afters, Headliner, All Nighter, VIP, Late Night. So this is really party, concert related. I mean, I wear looks like this all day, every day, but I just want to show you the direction that this is going. Very important to notice too is the fact that this, according to the Beauty Bay Instagram account, is the last palette that they will bring out in this format. In their Instagram stories, they announced that they are going to rebrand for 2025, so I don't know what is going to happen. I just secretly am hoping that they bring back palettes like the Metamorphic, because that was the best Beauty Bay palette ever to exist. In the Dark Lights collection, when you buy the full set, you also get a mini of their High Key mascara. It's a good one. It's not the worst mascara that I ever tried. I used up already 1 full size of this last year or somewhere this year, I don't know. But it's okay, so I don't mind having a mini of it. And there are 3 of these jelly sticks. I hate the jelly sticks, but I wanted to give this another go. The last ones that I tried, they were from, I think, Joycey. Everybody loved their highlighter sticks, and I just tried them and it crumbled, and it's like really, really weird. But the 3 sticks that you have here come in the shade. Number 1 is Setlist. It's undeniably stunning. I mean, they look really pretty, but they feel very, very wet. Then we have the shade Gold Hoops. Also a very, very pretty shade that I actually would wear as a highlighter on my face. And then we have the shade FOMO, which upon first glance looks like the other shade, but this is a duochrome stick. I don't know if you can tell, but this shifts from gold to purple. And I do have this within this look on the inner corner, topped off with the shade Silhouette from the palette. And when I bought these, I didn't really notice, like, okay, these are shimmer sticks, but I didn't really notice that these were these jiggly sticks. So with the video, I just went back to the Beauty Bay website and I looked up what is the specific use case for these. What is Beauty Bay writing, like the instructions, and they literally say, yeah, you can use this on the eyes, face, lips, wherever you like. So these are multi-use sticks. I will not use them on the face in this video. As said, the first one is on my inner corner. I see myself actually using each of these shades for a one and done eye look, but I don't see really the difference of keeping them for a longer sake when I have stuff like the glitter pucks, for example. I am thinking when I say once and done looks where I slept in, I have to start working and I just need a little bit of a put together look. So what I usually do is I take something like the glitter puck from Half Magic, or a sparkle liquid eyeshadow from LH Cosmetics, or from Ritual the Fee, their potted shadows. Just smudge this on the eye, maybe blend out with a little bit of bronzer and contour, and then do mascara. And that's like my quick, I completely misheard my alarm in the morning look. So this is where I locate these sticks for me in my collection. Will they survive any future declutter of single eyeshadows or a single liquid eyeshadows in my collection? I don't think so, but it comes really down to the fact that this is a preference thing. The three colors are very, very pretty. Now let's head into the swatches here of the Dark Lights palette. As I told you, this is a party inspired palette. This is a dark nighttime, smoky, I don't know. It's like this dark party van palette that for whatever reason I was kind of seeking for, because I love this color story. And to my own surprise, in this palette you have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mattes. So 7 out of these 20 shades are mattes. The rest are metallics. Just to put this into perspective with other limited edition 20 pan palettes, I have here the Reckless Romance. This is, I think, from last year's Valentine's. You can immediately see you have 4, 7, 9, 12 out of 20 are mattes in this palette. And then from last year's limited edition holiday set, the Celestial Charms palette, there you have 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 10. So half of the palette are mattes. They have been basically decreasing the number, but I am beyond happy that we have this ratio in this palette, because the shimmer formula in these, compared with all the other 20 pan palettes, I feel like it's going to be the best that I ever used just from these swatches. Of course, it comes down to the application and how they wear and so on. So you will see my final thoughts in the end of the video, but I have really, really high hopes. If you want to get the palette alone, I have a link down there, and I also have a link for the full collection if you want to get this. And now I will create for you 3 looks in this video, and then you will get my final thoughts on this. I'm starting with the shade Underground, and I used that on the outer part of my lid, and I already start to blend this. Just a little bit more building here, and then using it to blend, and I try to blend it like halfway in. Take a bigger brush and I tap into Sleepless, and I start to blend this in the center, inwards, and then outwards. Whatever is left here on the brush, so I'm not tapping back into Underground, I just use to now drag the darker blue here to the inner part of the crease. I don't want to dip back because you saw these shades are fairly pigmented. And the Beauty Bay formula, I'm honest with you, it requires a little bit of a different technique, not from light to dark. This one is more from dark to light. So I picked up a bit more of Sleepless, and now I just smooth everything out. I'm now tapping into Late Nights, beautiful purple with some multicolored specks of glitter. Ah, so pretty. And I apply this on the outer third, covering basically the matte shadow here. And I let it basically fade out towards the center of the lid. Next up, I'm going into Thrill. And I apply this on the inner part, and I let it fade out towards the center. And now we do have this weird area in the middle, and I am taking a little bit of Late Night again, and I start to refine that in the center, and then I switch the brush side where I had the other shade on, and I just keep on tapping in that center portion. I definitely want to add a liner, but I don't know which one. Sometimes I wish that you could help me with choices like that, especially when there's such a bulk here of liner. I think blue would be too tone and tone. Purple would be a little bit too tone and tone. Maybe something contrasty. I think that's a cool idea. Let's do something contrasty. This is ColourPop's Two Can Do It. The name is so... No, it's like that joke level. But I'm align my waterline with that. And then I tap into Underground and smudge that on the lower lash line. But I try to stay quite close here. By the way, have I ever told you that this brush here is my favorite brush for the under eyes? But I have no idea what this is. I do remember that this for 90% is a BH Cosmetics brush, but this one, I think, has been in my collection for at least 15 years. I'm pretty sure I've been using this since my 20s. And I wish that brush would be still existing. I could put it into ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT could find it. But I love this brush, and I try to dupe it with similar brushes like in that form or type, but nothing is just as good as this one. And I'm just so mad that I just have one of these. I now take a pencil brush and I go into Bass and I use this to soften this. I don't want to smudge it too far down today. I don't know why. Or no, it looks weird. Okay, I take Sleepless. I think that's a bit better here for this look. And I use this to put it on top, but maybe I have to reapply it. Okay, so the Bass shade definitely was a mistake. So I now take Underground again and just re-intensify that. But I still don't want to go down too far. I much rather soften it with Sleepless. Yeah, that's better now. I will stick with Thrill for my inner corner highlight. I think that is very fitting here since it does have a slightly darker base. So I apply that and then I connect it with the lid. And here we have now the first finished look. On the lips I'm wearing Lisa Aldridge Sculpt and Shade Pencil in 0N together with MAC Viva Planet lipstick. It is a really stunning look, and I think this is a very well done first look. But I do want to say that my assumption is that most of the looks will look somewhat like this because the whole palette has this certain vibe. But I love the darkness, the smokiness, the purpleness, but at the same time it's not like too I don't know, like too much. It's a well balanced one. So now move on to look number 2. I'm starting with Pulse today. And I start to blend this into the crease. I now go into Shady. I use this on the outer V area of the crease to just deepen it up. And on a bigger brush, I now pick up Bass again. And I use this to just smooth out edges. I now go into Lights Out. It's like a shimmery version of Shady. And I apply this on the outer half of my lid. And then I take Headliner and apply this on the rest. And where they both meet, I just wiggle them together. For liner, we'll be taking ColourPop's Kicker. It's a plain silver, and I think it will match the look very, very well. So I line the waterline. And then I pick up Shady and smudge that on complete or 2/3. I leave it like that, like 3/4. And then I pick up Pulse to blend this here on the inner part, and then I take it outwards slightly below Shady. For the inner corner highlight, I want to use one of the sticks that comes in the whole collection, and there are these 3 colors, and yeah, I just grabbed the right one. This is FOMO. I pick something up from the stick here with a brush, and then I tap it on. Oh, it's so pretty. The thing is, these are those jelly sticks and I don't really like these, but I want to give them another try here in the video. But since this is a cream and it honestly feels insanely wet on the inner corner, I will set this down with the shade Silhouette from the palette. This is one of this see-through wet looking shimmers, and I just use this here on top to set it down, and I give this a slightly more silvery sheen. And here we have now the finished look. On the lips I went with Rare Beauty's Dazzle Gloss. Look number 2, without a doubt, also very, very beautiful. So now let's move on to the last look with this palette. So for the last look, I start with Sleepless. I apply this directly through the crease. I then tap into Pulse and I apply this on the outer part here of the lid and crease. Also on the inner bit. So we're doing a halo eye. Yay! And the shade that is going to be the center of attention end of the lid is Strobe. You knew that I have to use this. These like dirty oil spill shades, they are just so special. So let's take this, and I picked up a little bit too much. Oh God, but it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I start to apply this in the center, and then I just start to gently tap it out left and right. And since I picked up a little bit too much, I'm not bringing it all the way out or inwards. I will go over it with the matte in a second. I must say the bold claim that this looks exactly like MAC's Blue Brown pigment. I picked up Pulse again, and now I just gently redefine the inner and outer bits and wipe it through the crease. I think a warmish brown will match the whole vibe, so I take Double Life from Urban Decay and line my waterline with that. And now we're going a little bit crazy. I take Lost Dance. It's probably, I think, the last matte that I haven't used yet. And I use this on my lower lash line and blend it on all the way from the outer to the inner part. And then I take Sleepless and blend that slightly below to soften it. I now also pick up Afters and I smudge this here in the center of the lower lash line. For the inner corner highlight, I take, let's take All Nighter and tap it on. And here we have now the finished look and also the last look. On the lips, I paired this with MAC's Root For Me Lip Glazer together with the Sleek Satin Blankety lipstick. I am beyond happy with this palette, to be honest. I was expecting a palette that is giving me very, very dark smoky looks, that is having endless possibilities to just make sparkly looks with this, with a certain smokiness to them. And honestly, this is exactly what you can achieve. And you see the way that I paired just these two mattes here, and yeah, and this one for the lash line, but nothing that was super punchy dark also shows, also shows that you can go a little bit lighter. The shades in here are absolutely stunning, and to be honest, I wish I had the time currently to do more looks with this. I am very, very impressed and happy with it. Everything here is just working. I have just a few things to criticize. So let's talk about quality. I gave this a 9 out of 10, and that comes down to the fact that some of these shimmers, they are, I don't know if you can see this here, that there is like this build up. They do kind of break and then they move and crumble away. They're not squishy wet as, you know, some oily indies, but they're also not dry and flaky. This is a common Beauty Bay formula. They are just, they have a bit of a weird texture, and as well as with the mattes, it can take maybe one fail look to get used to these. I know how this formula works. I just tend to over pick up the product, as you also were able to see. But overall, at the end, it works out, but I will tell you that there is a little bit of practice going on. When it comes to the color story, I actually gave this an 8.5 out of 10. I wish I can give this a 10 out of 10, but for me to go for that, I am missing, I don't want to say that I'm missing a matte. I want to say that I find one or two mattes even misplaced. So for example, I understand the need of the bath shade here just to lighten up any other mattes, but I think the bath shade is not right in tone. I wish that this was a little bit more cool tone, but this is a very, very yellowish leaning eggshell color. And I also find the undertone from Last Dance that I used today here for the lower lash line a little bit, no, I don't like it. I don't think it works that much. It's a little bit too bright for this palette, in my opinion. But I think there is a reason why this is in there, so I can totally imagine a look with maybe Nocturnal and Last Dance, just for a little bit of a brightener effect, and then combined maybe with VIP and Out Out. So again, there is a look in my head now. But yeah, I am missing some things. And when it comes to the shimmer, I find some things a bit too repetitive. I don't think that in the swatches this really came visible, but for example, I didn't need Until Sunrise and Electric in the palette. While they do look a bit different, since Electric is more of a greenish gold and Until Sunrise is really a goldy gold, I didn't need both. Same, in my opinion, goes for Sam 3 AM late nights and afters. Very, very beautiful shades, but do I really need 3 times a dark blackened purple shimmer? Not really. I see why this is in there. I'm very happy. And I also do want to mention that this is one of the few occasions where we have a dark smoky palette that doesn't have a single black in there. And it works. So this is a big pro. And my personal excitement for this palette is actually at a 9 out of 10. So that means in total this palette scored an 8.8 out of 10, which is the same rating as, for example, Adept Cosmetics Cyber Choir, Blend Bunny's Sugar and Grunge, and Natasha Denona's Retro Glam. These sticks that I used, or one of the sticks that I used for the second look, I don't think I can warm up with them. I just don't like the formula so much. I try to incorporate them in looks in the future, but I told you, I think in the intro already, that there is a high chance that at any point when I feel like I want to declutter all my single eye products, that this is going to be decluttered. So, of course, let me please know what you think. Will you pick this up? Did you already pick this up? How do you like that? I am a big fan of the Beauty Bay formula, and I am quite excited for their rebrand. Very curious what 2026 is going to be for Beauty Bay, the direction that they are going to. I cannot wait to see that. I am a big fan of them. Let me know please your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for joining. And if you want to get this, I told you I think already, in the info box are the links. These are both affiliate links. Keep an eye out for their discounts, because Beauty Bay usually has stuff like, hey, buy 2 Beauty Bay items and you get 20% off, which is a great deal. The links are affiliate codes without any discounts, but I get a small commission when you use them. Thank you so much. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any of the other upcoming videos, and I see you very soon.